think it's a game? You think it's a game? Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Hey, yo, what's my name? Y'all gon' make me go all out. DMX. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Hey, yo, what's my name? What you got? Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. I tried so hard. What you really want? What you really want? But it doesn't even matter. Come on. I tried so hard. What you really want? It doesn't even matter. But it doesn't even matter. Come on. Boy, give me a sign. Dog, I meet bitches, the street bitches, slash, Cocoa Puff, sweet bitches, say you wanna eat bitches, but not me. I tried so hard. I fuck with these hoes from a distance. The instant they start to catch feelings, I start to. What is it you want from a nigga? I gave you, you gave me. I played you, you played me. And got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I have been here.
Welcome everyone to another edition of the Showcase Pod. I am Don Vega. Like always, I'm joined by the boss, Chris Blackheart. We're at it again. You got a sweater on. It's kind of nippy in here today.
Yeah, I can't tell, man. I'm hot. I'm cold.
You're all over the place.
I feel like I'm Kathy going through menopause.
Oh Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
man.
But nonetheless, like every week, we got a special guest. Our guest this week, referee, photographer, many hats, Anthony Warren.
Thanks.
Welcome to the Showcase Pod.
Thank you for having me. This is interesting. I've been listening to every single one since you guys started.
That's a nice shirt.
I know, that's-
Oh,
was
thank you.
thinking.
Boston Pro Wrestling Marathon
Yeah,
shit show of
that's-
2015.
Don't give it away yet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
That's what I just said. That was it. 2015.
Very
Ooh.
interesting topic that's ahead of ourselves. But before we get down to the dirty, how you got bitten by the pro wrestling bug?
My dad actually got me involved in it. He watched wrestling when he was younger. And then I ended up watching wrestling one day and just enjoyed it, watching Iron Sheik and Roddy Piper and Hogan and all of the 80s characters, and loved it and been watching it ever since.
So when you was little, Anthony, did you ever wanted to pursue wrestling, be a wrestler, or be involved other than just what you're doing now?
I
wrestling?
had no desire to be wanting into the industry at all. I accidentally fell into it. I accidentally fell into the position, I guess you could say, and just the ball started rolling from there.
Okay, so talk to us about that. How you, when I met you, if I'm not mistaken, you were taking photos. You would go to shows and take photos, right?
Yeah, actually, funny thing is, I met you even before that.
Okay.
It was PWF. Well, going back a little bit, PWF had at the Providence Civic Center one night. Me and my dad were at a basketball game. PWF had an advertisement on the ticker tape above the video board saying PWF show Providence, Rhode Island, whatever. And I'm like, oh, my dad's like, oh, there's wrestling. I'm like, where? It's a basketball game. He's like, no, on the board. You have to watch it all. Watch for the advertisement. I go, okay. Watch for the advertisement. Go to the show. I go online, PWF Northeast Wrestling, check it out. Mike Bennett's going to be there. I've been a big fan of Bennett. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. Go to the show, take photos from behind the crowd. I paid for a ticket like everybody else does. Paid for a ticket, took photos. PWI 500 came out. There's a picture of Don Vega by Picture Dave. So after the show, I wait. Take a picture with Biff Busick, Ryan Bisbal, took pictures with. Don Vega comes out. Excuse me, Mr. Vega, can I get your autograph?
Okay.
So you sign my PWI 500. So I went back. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, local wrestling close to my house. I can go whenever I want to.
Okay.
Took another photo. Took photos of the show behind the barrier again. And my dad knew Shane Simons. American Eagle or whatever he goes
Mr.
by,
Wrestling
Mr. Wrestling 4, whatever
Yes.
you go, Masky McGraw, whatever.
Yeah.
So my dad told me to talk to Shane. Shane's like, well, I know Spencer Jowitz. Talk to him, introduce yourself. So I go, I see him. introduce myself, sit in the crowd, take photos. Facebook, tag everybody, tag who I could online. So I think Mad Dog Matt Storm or Rich Bass, the official high class Rich Bass, goes, man, your photos are good. Why don't you come on the other side of the barrier and take photos? Sure, why not?
That's how you got started,
That's how I
huh?
got started,
Okay.
and just I started taking photos, and I was like really nervous my first night. I'm like, yeah, I'm jumping from this side to that side of the guardrail. I know it's like everything, but I'm gonna get my ass kicked out here if I do something wrong.
So your first introduction then was PWF. From there you go to other places. Yeah, I think you've taken photos at Big Time Wrestling and
Yeah,
other groups.
PWF closed, and well, PWF took a hiatus, and then I'm without a job, if you can call it that. Just something I did for fun.
Yeah.
So PWF closes, and I just like Matt. What do I do? He's like, just contact other companies. So I contacted, I think, New England Frontier Wrestling
Mhm.
with Chris Camaro.
Okay.
Contacted them. I contacted Big Time Wrestling. I contacted, hey kid, you want gimmicks? NWW Extreme.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Contacted
Oh,
them.
well, you have some stories on that down the line too, right?
Yeah.
All right, all right.
So I got down to, I went to NWW Extreme. Who else is running? Top Rope. I contacted XWA. I started traveling with Matt and Bass because Matt and Bass started branching out to other places. They brought me to Showcase. I went there, started taking photos there for people. I was at a Ring of Honor show and I saw a picture of Dave taking photos, and I'm like, dude, he's taking photos. I can do that shit. So I contacted Ring of Honor, and I worked 2 Ring of Honor shows for them. One was in both of them were in Providence,
Okay.
Providence, and West Warwick. I didn't do the pay per view. I did the TV tapings for Ring of Honor in 2013, I think. And then they ran TV tapings at the West Warwick Civic Center, and I got to work for them too as well.
Okay, so talk to about some of the experiences, taking photos. You get to be ringside, you get to see everything. It's like the best seat in the house. Some of the people that, you have gotten to meet and take photos of.
Man, the experiences, like again, like if you told me when I was little Anthony Warren to now, it'd be like, yo, that is not gonna happen. You are not going to work with uh Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Mike Bennett, all those guys. Like, just I went to school for digital communications and communications media, whatever it was, video production. I accidentally fell into it again because my friend was trying to sell a camera, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll buy it. Bought the camera and just started taking photos. But like, seeing your heroes in front of you being there is amazing. Like, went to the show. I think the Nasty Boys were working a PWF show. Got to meet them. Steve Carino, ECW. Who else? Those like names among names. I can't even. There's
You
so
were
many.
there for some of the McCoy Stadium shows
Yep,
too,
Big
right?
Time Wrestling was like Big Time Wrestling has every single name. I think
Like Sting and Sabu,
Sting.
Sandman,
I've
all those guys.
worked with numerous times. Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Raven, Big Cass, Enzo. Gee, the list goes on and on. So many people you can name. It's just like to see them. I know like the saying is everybody puts their pants on the same way, but it's amazing that like I got to work with these guys and I just can't believe it.
So, from the camera and from taking photos, slowly we see you starting to referee matches. How does that come about, and how do you fell into refereeing?
That actually comes from this guy right here. Amazingly, Mr. Blackheart.
Please tell me the story because I don't remember
You
it.
don't
I
remember?
don't remember.
Wow. So one night, this was when Matt and Bass were in the promotion.
Yeah. Is that when they were doing the
They were
cartel?
doing the cartel, and we were going to just show up one night. They were gonna be on the show. I was taking photos, and we go in and we get there. And this guy looks at me. He goes, "You got any black pants?" I go, "Yeah, they're in my car." He goes, "I need a referee tonight." I go, "I have no clue. Like I literally from fan to ringside photographer to inside the ring. Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Nah, you know what you're doing. You see the action through the camera. Now you take away the camera, and you're in the ring with the people." So this guy goes, "Yeah, just go in, do what you do. You know, count 1, 2, 3."
Was that an Attleboro or
No, that was actually in Woonsocket.
All right, so that's what I was thinking.
That was in
'cause that's,
Woonsocket.
that's something I would say. That's why.
That was in Woonsocket. You go into your blue bin. You go,
Yeah.
"Here's a rush shirt, kid. You're all set now." I'm like, I have no
Yeah, but
clue. Never been trained.
Yeah, but wasn't it a bass match?
I think it was a bass
Yeah,
match.
so
So
it
it
was
was like I was being home with the
Yes,
guys because I
yeah.
knew we traveled the road together, and that's like the best thing that probably ever could have happened to me is traveling with Matt and Bass
Yeah.
the whole time because the stories that come out of there is
Tell us the story.
just like sitting in the back seat, shutting your mouth and listening, or driving, shutting your mouth and listening
Yeah.
to what they say. Just everything was helpful from like, oh, work a horseshoe. The camera's there in front of you. Work a horseshoe. Don't put your back to the camera. Do like, okay, there's a videographer here and here. Make sure you're not in their way. Like, don't get in the wrestler's way. Stay in a corner. Pick a corner. Stick in it. You need to come out for a second. Come out. Go back in. Like that was basically my training that night. Like it was like hands down. And then obviously, yeah, then after that, going to training and stuff with you.
So then after that, you continue to work shows as a referee for like Showcase. Do you go other places and referee?
I did. I went to Showcase. I did top rope the last match before Vinny and Vincent and TK Orion got signed to Ring of Honor exclusively. I did their last match at top rope. Unfortunately, Rich Bass couldn't make it, and he called me telling them that, yeah, I called top rope and told him that I can't make it, but I told him you could, and you're going to show up tonight.
Oh, that's a
I'm
good
like,
solution.
okay. So I got my gear and canceled everything I was doing that night and straight to the arena where they were. I ref them. I ref top rope. I refed at XWA for a little bit. I refed at RWA. I refed at RICW for a little bit. I refed at just to get out and referee.
Yeah, just,
You just
the
to get the
repetition.
experience to
Yeah,
work
you
and
gotta
work.
get the reps in, you know. So now that you transition over to refereeing, if you could, if you could take us through some of you just mentioned you did Vincent's and TKO's match. What are some of the memorable matches that you've been in and been a part of refereeing?
Memorable matches I've been a part of was, like I said, Vincent TK Orion doing their last match for Independence before they signed to ROH. I did a tag team match in XWA with Teddy Hart and I want to say it was Jason Daniels versus Martin Stone, and I forgot who else was in that match.
Okay.
Danny Burch from WWE,
Yeah.
NXT. I did them. Got to be in the ring with Tony Atlas at Powerhouse Wrestling. Got to be in the ring with Carlito this past weekend. Got to be in the ring with Fandango, Dirty Dango.
Okay. All right. So we want to go back now that we kind of gave an introduction to the fans watching, to the people listening about yourself. We want to kind of go back, and this is more towards the people that are like diehard independent wrestling fans in the area. Some of the boys that watch the show. There was this thing called the Boston Marathon Pro Wrestling
Oh,
Show.
you want to go into it early, huh?
Yes, I want to go right
I
into
think
it.
Hey, we'll go into it.
I
don't
almost,
care.
I almost think we should go on a commercial break.
I want to.
No, let's go into it right now.
I mean, we don't have a
You don't have a
commercial.
commercial.
We don't have a commercial break right
All right,
now.
so you
This
see
is
this
independent
water
wrestling.
here? We're looking for advertisement for next show. Okay,
God.
this could be water, this could be beer or coffee. Three of the things that I drink. Okay.
Well, since you brought it out there, it's a good pause for any of our viewers out there, if you know anybody or you're watching, you own a business, you want to advertise with Showcase Pro Wrestling and the Showcase Pod, please contact showcaseprowrestling.com or hit one of our social media outlets out at SP Wrestling. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and we'll be happy to serve you with that. We'll go on location, we'll shoot a commercial, whatever advertising you want to do, just hit us up and we'll get that going in the next couple weeks. We'll be having more information in the websites and social media about that. But going back to the Big Boston Marathon show. Yeah.
Boston Pro Wrestling Marathon, March.
That's the date?
Yeah, March 6, 7, 8, 2015.
All right.
It
So,
should be a big giant black spot through the 8 because it never happened.
so my question is, right? It's the Boston Pro Wrestling Marathon.
Yes,
But it wasn't in Boston.
it wasn't in Boston.
Where did it start, though? Where was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be in Quincy in the Armory.
All right, Quincy and Armory.
Quincy Armory.
Okay.
High ceiling.
All right, is that building number 1?
That was building number 1.
All right, was there a building number 2 or is there a final destination?
No, the destination was where it ended up being
And in Rockland.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it was. I think so.
It's my town, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
it ended up being there.
I know when I went there, I dropped off guardrails, and I see like the chandeliers and the low ceilings.
Yes, that was the first problem because when I think everybody got to the building,
Yeah.
they looked at the ceiling and was like, "All right, there's no flying, like you say, flying
Which
out."
is fine because you don't have to.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
Yeah.
wrestle, but you
I don't
know.
think some of the
I
talent
think
had
the
to
building was the least of the problems
Yes.
that were.
The building was the least of the
All right,
problems.
so tell us the story. Tell us the
even
logistics.
even before that. So this is 2015. 2014.
Yeah.
You had a seminar at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Arena
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Training Center.
Who do we have?
Mike Mondo,
Yes.
and I was still taking photos at the time.
Okay.
So you say, "Can you come down, take photos?" I go, "Yeah, sure, we'll take photos. I'll come down," because I guess it was the East Providence Heritage Fest was that same weekend too. So Spencer brought him to you guys for a seminar, and
I
then
think you coordinated that.
Yeah, it was a combination.
it was a seminar with Spencer
Yeah,
and
it's a
Mondo
combination.
at the school,
yeah.
and then that night they had the East Providence Heritage Festival, and Mondo wrestled like a Power League show that day, that afternoon,
Yeah,
evening.
It was a pot. With
Yeah.
It was a
many
many pot.
stairs.
No, which
So-
is good. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with that.
So
That's
as
how
I'm
it should
taking
be.
photos throughout the afternoon at the training center, Spencer comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I'm thinking about this great idea." I go, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, "Well, it's like 3 days, 4 shows, pro wrestling marathon." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure." So we go, he shows me the list, pulls out his cell phone, goes, "This is the card for next year."
Right.
As everybody knows, at the bottom of the poster says,
Yeah.
"Card subject to change." I never seen a card change so many times in my life with that one. So that was the first issue. You knew that in a year that card was going to change so many
Do you
times.
remember any of the matches that was
Yeah, the
supposed
original
to?
card. Do you remember
Any of
that
them?
original card?
I think it was supposed to be one was supposed to be Demolition versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay.
I think that was one. I remember he did put music with Mondo, and that was the opening match of day number 2 in the afternoon session. It was so long ago, and like I don't think any of the matches besides that Biff Busick and Mike Mondo was gonna be there. So
So will you work behind the scenes with this too?
no, I was just taking photos.
All right.
And
so
he
you
says
weren't part of the crew.
no, I wasn't part of the crew. He hired me as
Who was doing it with Spencer? Do we know or?
Matt. Mad Dog Storm was helping with the booking, like the matches and stuff like that, like being a matchmaking booker,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Bass was reffing. Rob Tuttle was reffing. Caleb was helping with whatever he was doing, lights or video production, stuff like that. Tanya from TC Tapes
Yep.
She was there doing video. Christine Kuhn, CJ was there doing the photography. Leo Connors from Connors Catering was doing the catering. I think Barasano was helping. Adam Barasano was helping out a little bit too, because him and Spencer were like really good friends.
Yep.
So whole year goes by. Finally, the day the show comes. We're all driving there. We get there. The ceiling is so low. We're all looking like something's bad's gonna happen. Something really, really bad is going to happen.
So talk to us about that first day. You talked about the card. You've seen a preview of the card a year prior to the happening. Now it's showtime. Here comes the show. What is the card? Do you recall that first night, first show, the attendance, and what was the card?
The first show was that March 6th at night, and I remember we got there, talked around. I think it was the main event was no, it wasn't. I think that was night 2. But I do remember the first match because again the ceilings were low. It was Devin Blaze versus I think Maverick Wild. I think it was Maverick Wild versus Devin Blaze. Maybe not. But I know it was Devin Blaze because we said ceiling's low, something's gonna happen. First thing you do, see the chandelier. Devin Blaze does a tope over the top rope, kicks the chandelier with his foot, glass flies everywhere into the crowd. Somebody gets cut. Guy starts complaining. Spencer's gonna run over there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do anything
So,
for you because I don't want to get sued.
so did they have a crowd?
They
What
had
was the amount of this?
it was all right. Like people were waiting out when we got there. People were waiting outside. Like there was like probably like a good 50 people outside.
All right. I mean, that's
Okay.
not a bad
It's
feeling.
not a bad feeling, but then when you walked inside and you're like, wow, look at this place. It could have
Okay,
filled
so
more.
the first night had a main event. Do you recall the main event on that card?
Main event. I want to say was it Sullivan and Locke, or was that night 2?
If
Was that
I'm not mistaken, from the stories I've heard, that was the
that was
last.
that was the last? That was
Yeah,
night 2.
Yes.
I don't remember.
yes.
Night 1 might have been the tag team gauntlet. It had Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, I think. Biff was in it. Was Biff? Biff and Teddy was in it. I think the Spirit Squad was there too.
Okay. So,
The crowd was into like the whole show, but we just looked and was like, we came all the way here for this. Oh, Ebony Blade was there too.
yeah.
Ebony Blade was there
He
too
gave
as
a
well.
sermon.
He gave a sermon to the boys in the back. I do
Okay.
remember that. Can't forget an Ebony Blade sermon.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's just there was about I would say maybe like 50 to 100 people there.
Okay.
Okay, for night
So-
1,
So night 1 wasn't bad.
you know,
All right. So day 2 starts. Here you go.
Day two
you
of
get
3.
there.
Day 2 3 gets there. Well, the first show I was not a part of because I had to work that morning into the afternoon. But from what I heard was they had somebody was doing a podcast there, so they had like I think it was maybe I want to say Biff, but I'm not sure, or somebody's podcast was they were doing a podcast or radio.
Well, it
something.
could have been Biff and Ted.
It could have been
like
like Biff or Ted, or it was somebody else.
A podcast.
Yep.
Biff and Ted.
So it could have been somebody else too, but they said Biff and Mondo went on first, and like there was no bump for the first 8 minutes, 10 minutes. There was no bumping for the first 8 to 10 minutes.
Good for those guys.
So that one, they said they drew a good crowd, and the people that were there, but it was like again like 50 people. And then that night,
so he was doing one show on
he
Friday,
did one show Friday,
2 on Saturday.
2 on Saturday with a podcast and some kind of luncheon for like VIP guests.
He was kind of trying to run
He
like
was-
a Starcast before it was
Yeah,
Starcast.
or the gathering.
Yeah, like everything he was trying to do, the Starcast gathering,
good idea.
WrestleCade.
Yeah,
But
the idea was good, just wrong circumstances. I
Yep.
guess. So, second night when you get there,
Second night.
the night show, it features Kevin Sullivan.
Featured
against
Kevin
Brandon
Sullivan
Locke.
against Brandon Locke as the main event.
Okay, so what happens at that show?
So at the show, it goes like, hey, as a photographer, again, I'm not in the back with the boys. Like, I try to stay. Again, I got taught you're a photographer behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a production meeting, you go to the production meeting. Other than that, you stay away from the boys. So I stayed away. So show went on. They wrestled. I don't know if people say that again. The house was late. There wasn't a lot of people. Like I would say, like 40 to 50 people. It wasn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we got higher than maybe like 75 people for each show.
And who were the names that night? Night number 2?
Night number 2,
We have
Sullivan.
everyone knows Sullivan.
Everybody knew Sullivan. I think Joel Gerton was there that whole day. Oh my God, so long
Some of the
ago.
local guys that were there.
Some of the local guys, Mav Wild was there. Biff,
Yes, and Johnny there.
2015.
2015. Yeah, I think Handsome Johnny was there.
I'm
Michael
thinking-
Sane came back.
I'm thinking there's probably a lot of PWF guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Sane was there. Teddy was there. Biff was there.
Rockville Express ever get there?
No,
that was the original card.
that was the original card.
Right.
So the show goes off. Whatever match goes on.
Match goes on.
I've heard many stories about what happened in the aftermath.
Where the pictures are all these, by the way? You're a cameraman, but you didn't bring the photos today?
No, I didn't.
You got pictures of the show though.
I do have pictures of the show.
Okay.
So the last match goes on. Sullivan and Brandon, and then Adams managing Block.
Yep.
It's an all out brawl. Anything goes. Go out into the crowd. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if Sullivan was high, drunk, whatever. I don't know. I don't think it connected as they wanted it to, because it was you can see some shots that Locke is actually laughing during the match because he was supposed to do something and then Sullivan hit him with something and he's like, this is the shit. So Barrisano's out there too. They go back after the match. Match is over. 1, 2, 3. I think Locke wanted or something. Oh, it's time to pay the boys. Get out the envelopes. I guess this is what I heard. So they go back. Now, again, every night the house was light. I think, in my opinion, everybody was obviously supposed to get paid. Didn't get paid because the promoter was expecting the ticket sales to pay the boys.
Okay. So he was expecting that the house would be full so that he could pay the boys. They didn't have money prior to holding these events. But then I hear, the story about I guess he did have money for Sullivan. He paid Sullivan. And
he paid Sullivan after the fact because this is probably nobody's ever heard this on camera before. So Sullivan, he's getting ready to pay Sullivan, I guess, and Sullivan had his own dressing room. There's an area. Sullivan's over in maybe a bigger closet than what a closet is, bigger closet, and then the boys were in another room across the hall. So I guess he went to go pay him. I think it was Barrisano, Spencer, and Kevin was in the room. He gives him the envelope. Sullivan opens the envelope, looks in, a little short. Instead of Spencer just saying, I'm a little short tonight, I don't have the money, can I pay you later or do something, whatever. Sullivan, what I heard went nuts and was telling Spencer, you better pay me. So next thing I heard was Spencer got on his knees and started begging, please don't hurt me or don't kill me or whatever it was. The like not get
So,
hurt because he didn't pay him what he was supposed to get paid or something.
so did he
Instead of being honest with him, he just like, oh, here's the envelope. Instead of being like, I would have been fine if you don't say, oh, I don't have the money tonight, or like, let me go to the ATM. I can pull money out.
yeah.
Like, don't just give an envelope to somebody. This is in any job, any business. Don't like, oh, I'm gonna give you X amount of dollars, and there you go.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all I have. Well, no, like, you better pay me. I'm still waiting on the money I'm owed from that shit show.
Well,
So-
And it was supposed to be $50 a show.
So what was the trickle down effect? I'm sure the boys
Some
Her-
boys got
her-
paid and some
they
didn't.
they heard what happened.
Yeah, they did.
So now we're on to day 3.
Yeah, day 3. Well, we're still on day 2 because
day 2. So
yeah.
when did I
So
go there?
after the incident, so me, Matt, it was we had 2 hotel rooms. It was me, Bass, Mad Dog, Caleb in one room, and in the room next to us was Ebony and Michael Sane. So the first night, Ebony and Sane came into our room and like we talked all night long, telling stories from the old days and stuff like that. The next night comes in and the Boston Pro Wrestling Marathon. We get to the hotel and I think it was Matt got a message. Show's been canceled for tomorrow. Like, oh, show's been canceled for tomorrow? Like, what? What the hell's going on? We were left at that. Show's been canceled for tomorrow. No further thing. No further explanation. No nothing. Sorry, the show got canceled for tomorrow, and that's where we were left off.
you guys at least got the hotel covered.
We got the hotel covered, and then to set it off, so we ended up at the hotel. And after getting the information, we're like, well, we got nothing better to do. We might as well go into a room. So we went into Sane and Ebony's room, and I'm not a drinker, and all of them were drinking. So I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, you get a knock at the door. I'm the youngest out of all of them in the industry, so I'm like paying my dues. I go up to the door, open the door up. Who's standing in front of the door? Kevin Sullivan. Like, what's going on in here? I'm like, oh, just partying. You want to come in? Sure, kid. Come on in. Comes in, sat down, started telling stories to Ebony and Michael and all of them about like WCW days, NWA Florida days, and all that stuff.
Okay. So it was a good night for those guys.
It was a good night for us because
was.
ended up having a nice little story to tell afterwards.
It wasn't such a nice night for Spencer.
No, because he almost got his head chopped off. But
Okay.
the next day, you want to talk about day 3?
I think I was there day 3 because I did.
Were you? Were you packing up because everybody else was?
I did because I did the guardrail rentals.
Okay, so the next day we get up. Everybody like went to go pack up their stuff from the building, and everybody's tearing stuff down. When me and Caleb got there, I think we got there probably like noon. So I helped Caleb pack up and load up all his stuff. And there's the promoter putting away the chairs. Spencer putting away the chairs. And he was using one of those like chair dollies. I guess he didn't know how to use it or didn't know where to put the chairs. And the lady from the venue was like, no, they go over there. I'm just like, I'm laughing inside now. I don't want to like show any like much because he still owes me because I was going to get $50 a show that I was at. And he was 2 shows that I would have been at. So he still owes me $100 8 years later, which I still never seen. And I will never see it again.
Yep. No, I'm owed some funds.
So it was just funny seeing him like being bossed around from the lady that.
Mr. Vega, were you on that show?
No, I wasn't.
Were you supposed to be?
I was gladly booked somewhere else, and I did get paid, and that show went off quite well. But yeah, it's funny you bring the stories up about the Sullivan because I heard so many different versions of what happened. I heard one version that I heard was that Sullivan wanted him to take care of Brandon and all this other shit because he thought the kid was good and he was stiffing him and he kind of stuck up for him and that's why they had that clash. Another story was Spencer said, I can't pay you at all. And that's when Sullivan freaked out and that envelope appeared afterwards with some money. I've heard so many different
Yeah, the only
stories.
people that were in that room was Sullivan, Barros,
Adam,
Adam, and Spencer.
so,
But
you
you
know.
can't expect like to pay the boys off of ticket sales. Like you should have
Oh, no,
a
no. You're
something
running a
before.
show, you got to have the budget for the show because,
So if there's any of the boys who has an itch to actually run a show, always have the funds in your hand
yeah.
before the gate opens.
You gotta have that
Because
money there, and you're taking a gamble. It's like playing the lottery.
it is. I always consider legalized gambling
Yeah.
because you can do everything wrong and win, and you can do everything right and lose.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I experienced a show like that. Not to get off topic. Years ago, probably around 2013, around there, circa. This promoter ran in Connecticut, and he ran
That's what
Nomad's Adventure Quest, and
all right,
he
that's
had
not
a
the one I was
he
thinking
had
of, but
a
Oh, was that
yeah.
the LWA?
No, not LWA. We never had this.
Oh, RWA.
No, no.
No, that
It
wasn't the
was
guy.
this.
RWE.
It was this promoter. He ran one show. He had everybody booked. He had, like at the time he had Sanjay Dutt. He had
Oh no, that wasn't it.
Robbie.
is this
He
when
had
you were doing the ring with?
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
get there. Nice venue. Other people have ran in there. This is
That's
before.
why. That's why
This is
I was
before
thinking it.
LWA. Other people have ran in there before and been successful. Actually, the guy that ran there before was cousins with the owner of LWA, and he had packed the house there. This guy was like a lackey that used to go to the shows, so he figured he could do it. So he goes and he books a host of people, including like Sanjay Dutt and just incredible at the time, Robbie E. And I forgot who else, but it was a bunch of people. Anyways, we get there. Setup is done. Everything's going. About an hour before we're supposed to start this thing. I'm helping with the booking with Zach the ref. Uh, there's nobody there. There's nobody around waiting other than, half hour before the show. There was probably like 6 people lined up at the door. So, it's not looking good. So now at this point, I'm not getting dressed. A lot of the boys ain't getting dressed because there's, like I said, now we open the doors. There's 6 people inside the building. Then shortly after that, he came over and said he didn't have any funds. He was waiting on the gate to pay the boys, other than $700 that he had in his bank account, which ironically that would cover, for at least the ring. So I instructed him to go to the ATM. At the same time, I was taking his MacBook and putting it inside the truck until that money appeared. But yeah, big melee happened there. Sanjay Dutt got pissed. He got in an open mic and told 10 people now, probably at this point, that the show's canceled. This guy's a piece of shit. He's going off. Robbie E was flipping out. I mean, it was quite the experience.
That Nomads is actually a nice place to run a show.
Yeah, that is a nice place. And going back from that, after that, that's when LWA started.
LWA
and that's when
started
we
there.
started
There was
running.
that RWE. Did you ever wrestle for them? Real Warrior Entertainment, I think. Caleb was part of
That
that.
was Caleb.
That
Yeah,
was Caleb.
I was scheduled to work for them, but I never did. This was after LWA.
After the LWA.
Yes.
Because I did I think one LWA show,
Yes.
taking photos for you guys,
Yeah.
and Damian Darling was on the show.
Yes. Yeah, we did well there. The promoter just got tired of the. He loved wrestling. He had the funds to do wrestling, but at the same time, he just got tired of the the drama and the bullshit behind the boys. So he decided to walk away. Uh, Shit happens.
Yeah.
But going back to that show now, you said you referee for other promotions like Top Rope and did you ever work any refereeing for Big Time Wrestling?
I have not.
Okay.
I worked photography for them, and he's got Zach Carter,
Yes.
which Zach's
Yeah,
cool. Zach, I
Zach's
have no
always his
problem.
main
Zach,
referee.
Sal,
Yeah, Sal. Yep.
Giliberto,
Yeah.
and what was it Joey Numbers.
Yeah.
So he has his like 3 New England guys.
Yeah.
So he's like, you have to go outside. When we go outside of New England, I could get you on a show if we go to like New York or New
Yeah.
Jersey,
Carolinas.
Carolinas. But Carolinas, you need
You
a
know,
referee
you
certificate.
need that license.
You need that
That's like
license.
$300.
So, and we're only running what, one show or
Yeah.
2 shows a year. So
Yeah,
I'm just
not gonna happen.
not
Yeah.
beneficial.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind doing New York, like going with Big Time. I've done Mid Hudson Civic Center, and good story with them was one night I was doing photography for Big Time, and Mid Hudson Civic Center comes up. Well, Mid Hudson Civic Center, everybody knows that's like one of the granddaddies of like on the lowest scale of WWE because that's where Andre's hair got cut.
Yeah.
Miss Elizabeth got introduced there. So when I got there, me and Zach, I'm like, walked out the doors. I'm like, oh my God, like little kid Anthony Warren being like, wow, this is awesome. Like I get to be going through the same doors that Miss Elizabeth and Andre the Giant came out, and Andre stood right here in the middle of the ring. So I would take photos for them, Mid Hudson Civic Center. Show up one day, the ring's not there. I forget who the ring rental was by, but the ring was not there whatsoever. And we had to put stanchions up around where the ring was because you don't want to blow kayfabe to the fans and be like, this is how you set up a wrestling ring. So we ended up putting the ring up, and then I was working with Sting in the private area for autographs and
VIP autograph session.
autograph session before the show, and every like 5 minutes Sting would go, Nate, is the ring here yet? And the fans are looking at me just like Nate, is the ring here yet? No, Sting, it's not. And they're still looking at me. Then one fan goes, wow, Sting actually knows your name? Like, no, like we just met like 5 minutes ago. Like I'm working an autograph session with him. Like Sting's a really good guy.
They don't have to know that.
No, but
Yeah.
it's just like weird. The fans are looking at you like, no.
Yeah.
And I also worked ECW arena too.
Okay.
I actually got to go down the ECW arena. Rich Bass was refereeing a GCW show, Game Changer Wrestling,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I go, "Nothing." He goes, "I need a ride to Philly." I go, "What for?" He goes, "I'm refereeing." Now everybody knows Rich Bass doesn't really drive a lot.
Yeah.
He drives, but he doesn't drive a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go. He goes, bring your camera. I can get you on the show. Now, Matt, Bass, you tell me, bring your shit,
Yeah,
and
bring
if you need it, you'll get on that show. So
Yeah.
I brought the stuff, went down, even brought my portfolio, showed the head photographer of GCW it. He's like, man, you do some good work. You can come on in, take some photos. So I took photos of the GCW Acid Cup that
Okay.
day, and it was Danny Moff and Steve Mack was on the show. The Private Party was on the show. Joey Janela, Pinky Sanchez. I think Joey Janela and Pinky Sanchez won the finals of the Acid Cup. Joey Janela won. Just like again, you tell me when I was younger about what I would be doing now, because when I was younger, again, my dad got me into wrestling, but my dad worked at the Civic Center as well
Yeah.
as an usher. So when wrestling came around, get 2 tickets, nosebleed seats, me and my mom would go,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom would bring us, and then my dad would tell his friend who worked in another section, front row, oh, we need 2 more chairs down here. So my mom and me would go down front row, sit front row, and watch the matches. Like I went to a Saturday night main event when Steamboat got his head knocked in
Yeah.
by the DDT. Went for just regular house shows. My dad took me in the back one time. Some fan gave him flowers for Tito Santana, and Tito wasn't there that night, so he went back, and first person he saw was Miss Elizabeth with Randy, and he's like, "Oh, some fan wanted to give these to you," and Randy's
Yeah, the
right
Randy
there in the whole, "Ooh, brother,"
the Randy
get
flip
the
up.
Randy voice, and like again, not jealous at the time because it was some random fan. It wasn't one of the boys trying to go after Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden, he's like, "Do you like wrestling, kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." So being excited to see Randy Macho Man Savage in front of me, Miss Elizabeth, like little me, like this big, and looking up, and then all of a sudden, who comes walking by down the hallway? King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd. I'm like, "Dad, can we go now?" So my mom would take me, my dad, and I just got hooked from everything, and just boils in and around, and just kept on festering. Just accidentally, I found a way into wrestling.
Okay. Now, talk to us about your time. Was there a lot of matches that you referee at Top Rope, or?
Top rope, I didn't really referee. I think that was the one show I refed at, was that show, and that
You
was
took
it.
pictures there for
I took pictures for a while.
any interactions with Steven Ricard?
No, a hello, a goodbye, and that was it. Try to
Oh,
stay
so,
far away as
so,
possible.
so you didn't fuck up because he didn't give you the
No,
hands. Okay.
I did not fuck up. The first show I actually went to, Top Rope, was the infamous Scott Hall.
Oh, you were there?
I was
Tell
because
the story.
the
Yeah, I was there that night.
you,
I
where
wasn't
you
there.
did you work?
No,
No, you just went?
I was behind. Yeah,
You
I
were
was
behind the
backstage,
scene.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went to, my buddy was like, "Oh, let's go to Top Rope. You know, Scott Hall's gonna be there. Scott Hall's gonna be there." I'm like, "All right, we'll go." You know, I'm a fan still, just behind the crowd taking photos. So we get there. Now we're like 20th in line. Didn't buy our tickets yet. Go up, buy the tickets. Everybody's trying to find tickets or find seats wherever they are. So my buddy's like, "Oh, let's go to the stage," because you know how you walk into the PAL
Yeah.
and then take the left, and there's the venue. Then the stairs to go up on the stage to go the back to the gorilla position. Well, he's wanting to go by the stage. So I'm like, "All right, we'll go sit." So we sat literally next to the entryway, first two seats, the back row. So our backs were to the stage. On the 30 for 30 special, or E60 or whatever, the Scott Hall on
Yeah,
ESPN.
it's 30 for 30.
Yep, you could see me in my green embassy T-shirt, waiting there for the show. He comes out, like he was, first off, he was late. Scott Hall was. Second, when they put him down to sign autographs in the pre-autograph session, he was totally out of it. Now,
Wow.
I did not know, like, obviously, again, I wasn't in the industry. Like, was it drugs?
Wow.
Because you heard about the drugs incidents, and you heard about
I'll clear the air on that.
alcohol or the wrong medication that he
Yeah.
was taking or whatever.
Yeah, I'll clear the air on that. So Scott was placed on medication. He just left the hospital that day.
Yeah, because he had the
Wasn't
wristbands.
authorized to freaking travel. Still traveled to do the show. Like I said, he was put on medication that he never took before. So he was out of it. He was fucked up.
Yeah,
He wasn't late. He was in the back,
Yeah.
fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
And PJ was trying to help, and at the same time help himself to some other candies we're not gonna talk about. But yeah, they brought him out there. He was fucked up. He was scheduled to do that appearance. In my opinion, the guy made the appearance. Whether he was fucked up or whatever, people got to see him. There was no need to put him out there for a second time in the environment of putting him in the ring and doing any spot because he wasn't in the best
No.
of shape to do any of that.
it took him like 20 minutes to get him in the ring,
Yeah.
and 20 minutes to get out of the ring.
They brought him there. Funny story. Well, not funny, but they brought him to the hospital. He was locked up in Rhode Island hospital for a week or so. His bag was in my car. I had his Scott Hall jacket and all that shit because Zach picked him up at the airport.
Oh, Zach picked him up to the airport.
Yes.
So he goes into the ring. They helped him down. Gino was in the ring with them.
Yeah.
Gino did a
that
segment with
chair-
them.
Yeah, they did that chair shot that was weak as shit.
Yep. And
Yeah.
they called us bloody. He called us bloody wankers because he thought he was in England, not New England.
Yeah, it was It was bad, man. It was. I felt bad for Scott. Seeing him on television, seeing his work when he was in his prime, to see him at the stage that he was that night, and exposing him like that. That was a shitty fucking thing to do.
So
Just my opinion.
again, I know, like really the interaction I had with Ricardo was like a hello, goodbye, like what do you need? Do you need anything? Do I need to work do I need to work a table? Do you want me to sit with somebody before the show? Anything I can do? Because obviously you lend your hand in any, like you ask the promoter, like you want to show up, even if you're not on the show up and like, hey, what can I do to help? So the times I would go, it was like, work this table, work that table. I got to Ric Flair's table. I get to work his table that day. And unfortunately, the day that I was with Flair was the day Roddy Piper died. When Flair visited Top Rope,
Yeah.
we were in the back, and the line goes into the back where
Yeah,
the
I worked that show with Flair, and I worked the show that Rowdy was on at the PAL. Uh, so yeah, unfortunate, sad day
it
there.
was sad because that day, like literally, again, you saying you worked, I worked. So the fans walked in, met him, got his autograph, took a picture, walked out. All of a sudden, there's nobody else getting his autograph. Phone starts ringing. He picks it up. Flair goes, "Are you serious? What happened?" He goes, "Hold on, 1 minute." He looks at me. He goes, "Roddy Piper just died." He goes, "I gotta take a minute." Go right ahead. Walks right out the door, back door into the parking lot, and just. I'm like, whew, I got the news from Ric Flair. Like, gee, like obviously heartbreaking because again, I worked the Piper show too as well,
Yep.
and I remember Piper giving hints to anybody wanted advice, Piper would give it.
Yeah, he
Like
was. Yep.
he
He watched a lot of the
Anthony
matches that
Green
day.
was doing a promo.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Green was doing a promo, and Green's cutting the promo, and all of a sudden Piper's like, now Anthony's nervous in front of the camera for some. Obviously, that was like
Well, we
way
were
back
all
when.
cutting promos for the upcoming
Were we?
shows.
But it
Yes.
seemed like Anthony was like really
Yeah,
nervous.
He was the last one there because he had just wrestled his match, came downstairs to cut his promo, and Piper was in the far corner of the room and watched them.
And then Piper started coming closer
Yes.
and closer and closer to him. And then he's like, "Kid, you gotta tell him what's your name. What are you doing tonight? Like, my name's Anthony Green. Like, Anthony just got to get him super pumped. The video's on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah, they put
And
it on YouTube.
it's
Yeah.
great to see like the transformation. Like Anthony's all nervous at the beginning, and then by the end, like Piper's like in his face trying to get him to like talk.
Yeah, that was an interesting deal there. But now is that time to plug the upcoming events. We're into the plugs. November 10th, we're back at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center and Arena, 126 Main Street in Woonsocket. Friday night, 7:47 p.m. bell time, and then the following night, November 11th, that's Saturday night, we're back in Platinum City Gaming.
Going to see our buddy Rashad over there. We'll be doing a fantasy camp between 3 and 6. Bell time for the show is 7:07. That is the ultimate fan experience.
Yes.
The more we talk about it, the more people are inquiring. That is, if you're 13 and above, parent or guardian permission. If you ever thought you wanted to get in the ring, do an entrance, go on the mic, take a bump, maybe take a body slam, put together some matches, maybe have a promo
interact
battle.
with the talent,
It's
backstage experience. What's
yes, it's really
the whole works.
pulling back with the curtain.
Yes.
And the good part is $59. It does include ticket for that night event.
Yeah.
And a couple of the matches we already have signed. We have Mr. GA. GA is going
Osiris.
against
The
Osiris.
submission god Osiris.
He is going in for the SPW Heavyweight Champion against Reverend Brother Moon.
Yeah.
We have the up-and-comer AZ, the consistent one versus, as he liked to say, the old dog,
Yeah.
Don Vega. Those promos are up on TikTok and Facebook at SP Wrestling on either of them. And I have a new one.
Are you behind these whole?
No, absolutely nothing.
you-
I am enjoying it.
Are
I
you the
am
one
enjoying
with the
them.
shovel that's burying this kid more and more?
No. The kid, I think you would like the kid if you weren't wrestling that night.
Well, you know, like the kid as far as his shitty attitude and his cockiness and
Yeah.
him talking all this crap. The problem is, Anthony Warren, to be an old dog, you have to be around for a very long time.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
you
you
do.
could
And
be
you,
one.
and you have to seen it all and done it all. And this kid hasn't done
Half the stuff you've done.
No,
not even half.
not even half.
Not even beginning.
Not even a quarter.
No, but
to-
the kid has. I think we're up to. I think it's match number 8 for him.
The kid's got a
Wow.
big wow. He's got about probably
8 matches.
close
8 matches.
to 1,800 matches to catch up.
Let's
Yeah.
see how
ironic,
red
but
his chest
you
is going
used
to
to
be.
have 8 matches in one weekend.
Yeah.
This kid is literally on 8 matches for a career.
I've seen some of his stuff. He's
I
got
think he's doing
potential.
well.
He's doing well. He's training. He's definitely consistent. But like I said last week, and I'm coming off a victory. Powerhouse was a success. We were gonna get into that before we wrap things up. I'm coming off a high, and it brought me back to my childhood. It brought me back to Puerto Rico, and there's this old saying for the old school guys that used to work down here: if you want to learn to fight, you go to the island. And the island's going to come to you November 11th, kid. So I hope you're ready because hard times is ahead of your stay here in Showcase Pro Wrestling. Moving on to December 1st, we're back in Taunton for Seasons Beatings.
Yep.
Look, how
Could be early beatings.
Seasons Beatings, how convenient, right?
How convenient.
Yes, Seasons Beatings, December 1st, Taunton BFW Hall. Friday night again, 7:47 p.m. bell time
7:47.
on that. And then we close off our season December 9th at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center and Arena in Woonsocket. Saturday night, 7:07 p.m. bell time. Chris Blackheart, Seasons Beatings, what are your thoughts on that?
A lot of stuff behind the scenes.
You're just gonna stay away from any snooping around at ringside, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be near any poles.
You're not gonna be tied
no
up and
poles,
bound.
no duct
Your mouth
tape,
ain't
no
gonna
rope.
be wrapped around.
No.
I mean,
no.
see, at least he learns.
He learns.
Man.
That's the one thing that he's good at learning.
He learned that.
Some days I do learn the hard way, and
I mean, some people just need to learn the hard way.
yeah. But the good part is, it only happened once, so it's not a tradition. It's not annual.
It might be a tradition. I might
It
have
could
to
be.
tie somebody like a turkey now. I might have to carve somebody like a turkey.
Yeah.
That chest is going to be pretty red.
If AZ's watching tonight's show, I suggest you go on YouTube at SP Wrestling and watch what happened to a gentleman by the name of Carlos Slavin.
Oh, that wasn't good. That wasn't so good.
Because, it got very, very, very bloody that time.
Yeah, you are out of control that night.
And I am the nice, mean guy sometimes.
You are the nice mean guy.
You
Yes.
turned a celebration into a massacre that night.
Anything could happen in wrestling. But with that being said, Anthony, anything you want to plug? Social media? Where can
Oh, wait. You don't want to do the name game?
Oh,
right?
yes, we
Oh,
are.
all right. I thought
We're
you
getting
skipped it.
there. No,
Well,
we're
some
not
days the
skipping
old
that.
dog gets where to pee,
We're
you
not
know?
We're not skipping anything. If you want to plug, we're into plugs.
Oh, plugs?
Yes.
I got to put up my Facebook now. Anthony Warren probably at Facebook.
Yes.
So
Anthony Warren.
Anthony Warren at Facebook.
Are you single now? Are you?
What? Yeah, actually, that's the thing. Like, every time I try to find a girlfriend, they always say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you tell them wrestling, and then they're like, "Oh, with guys in spandex?" Like, yeah, like that's what I like.
Tell them midgets, too. They like the
Midgets.
midgets. Tell them that.
They
Well,
do.
Yeah.
Killer.
Well, Anthony Warren's available. Any young ladies
Yep.
out there
Kind
interested?
of like our
Going
other
for a
guest.
date
Oh,
with
'cause
Anthony.
every
He'll count the
time.
one. He'll count the 1, 2, 3 on you.
And take pictures after he's done.
Yep.
I got no because again, like I got bullied when I was a kid because I would wear the Hulk Hogan shirt to school, and they were like, "Oh, you like wrestling?" Like even throughout junior high, high school, like
Yeah.
wrestling. Like look where it gets everybody. Like you
Yeah.
know what? It's still a
Well,
like
newsflash. We just don't like wrestling. We fucking love it. And
We
if
love
you
it.
don't like it, fuck off.
Yeah,
All right. There we go. We got that. We got that nice and clear, right?
did.
Oh, I kind of like that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So going back to your favorite part of the show.
Oh no, it's yours, but
Well,
I thought you were gonna forget about it. So
No, I wasn't gonna forget about it. It's the name game. You ready,
Yeah,
Anthony
I'll
Warren?
try.
You go first.
I'm gonna go because I know you worked for him for a while. I'm gonna go with Mr. James Allen because I know you worked for him. He didn't really say anything, so we mentioned Ricard.
So what is this? Like one word I got to give them?
Yeah, one word
One
or
word,
a
if you
short
want-
story.
Yeah,
Short
Yeah,
story?
you can chill. Yeah.
James Allen tried to pay me in gimmicks. Said he didn't have the money to pay me, so he wanted to pay me in gimmicks. And you're talking to the wrong guy because I do not drink, do not smoke, do not do drugs, do not do any of that shit. And
You don't like no candies?
Nah, I don't like candies.
Okay.
Nope,
alright.
no candies. So that's nope, definitely not. Pay me in cash.
All right. Matt Storm.
Matt Storm, mentor.
Okay.
Great guy, traveled the roads up and down, and wherever I went, Matt would get me on a show. I started with PWF. Matt got me into PWF. I helped him out one day. I guess he sold a cage to some scrap company, and I was the only one that showed up to empty the truck with him. Took me to XWA, got me into there, started opening up doors to everywhere, SPW. So Matt's a big part of my life, mentor. If I did not have Matt, I probably wouldn't be in the industry.
So he scrapped the fucking cage?
He scrapped one cage. He didn't
What
scrap
the
two
fuck,
cages.
Chris Blackheart? You could have bought that cage. But got another one for us?
Yeah. Why don't we do Caleb?
Caleb? Oh God, Caleb Seltzer, good guy. Knowledgeable of the industry, knowledgeable of the sport. It was funny because I didn't do the Ring of Honor show. I had tickets at the Ring of Honor show. I think it was Supercard of Honor where Steen lost the title to Briscoe, and Caleb did half the show, and they threw him into the barrier. And I was actually lucky and fortunate enough to stand at the barrier that Carino was throwing him into. So I got a good, perfect shot of Caleb getting thrown into the barrier. But Caleb's a great guy. No, not a bad word about him.
Rich Bass.
Rich Bass, another mentor to me, whether it be getting me involved or even like the places like you never went. Like again, EC, like everybody, when you hear Philadelphia, what do you think of as a wrestling person? ECW Arena.
Yep.
Bass got me to work there. Like as a kid, oh my God, like ECW Arena. I can't believe I'm actually physically inside the building where everybody like Joel Gertner and Joey Styles and Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman, Raven, all everybody else, Paul Heyman. Like I was in the backstage area where the stairs led up to that Beyond the Mat promo where Paul Heyman gave the speech, and I was
Yep.
like, I walked up those stairs, I got chills going through my body, like I'm actually here.
Now,
So,
was you there, not to go away from your story, was you there the night the Sandman incident at McCoy Stadium?
I probably was.
Was you there when I had my tantrum and I threw him and he fell head first? They kept replaying on the big screen there. Was you there that night?
Yeah, because I did every show there. Yeah, I was there. Because you wrestled. It was like
Yeah,
a wasn't
it was
a
a tag
match.
with myself and Brandon Webb there.
Yeah, it was the That will.
and Hack tried to go into business for himself, and it backfired on him
Yeah,
that
I was
night.
on the other side taking photos. I think of the Devil's Reject, and you were. Yeah.
Yeah, you were there when I fucking dumped him on his head and beat
Yep.
the shit out of him with his own kendo stick.
Yeah. So
Uh,
Bass
yeah,
mentor. Travel the road. Ask like again how to accidentally being a referee. Yes. So asking Bass every single question in the book and getting booked by you ever since, and everybody else that tried to book me so far.
I'm going to go with the other Storm brother. I'm going with Kyle.
Kyle, I've had like maybe 2 interactions with him. I think when I was a fan at PWF and buying tickets to the show, he was there. I might have said hi once or twice. And then uh, I see him at the Hall of Fame ceremonies now for Joe Bruin, and cordial, say hello, and that's it. Nothing. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I know him and Matt patch things up. I think say
Yeah,
hello.
yeah, I'm not sure.
So I think they're cool now. I guess they talk to each other because every time I see them, they're always
Mhm.
like hanging out.
Oh, that's good.
So Kyle's like what I heard. I've heard stories that I can't like confirm because I wasn't there.
Mhm.
yeah.
But every time I've talked to him, it's always hi, how you doing? Because that's what I got taught too. When you go like, if you if me and you had an issue, you still shake hands, do your business, and then shake hands and then leave. You don't have to talk to the person ever
Yeah,
again. You just
yeah,
do the business.
yeah. You just brought him up, Joe Bruin.
Joe Bruin, I again was a fan. Somehow I found his fan fest online in like 2011 when it was at the Holy Brotherhood of the Holy Ghost,
Yes.
and I went to a couple of them, paid the ticket price, got the autographs. You know, big like obviously we're all fans. Every one of us is a fan. We wouldn't
Yeah.
get in this business if we weren't fans.
Yeah.
So Joe Bruin, I went to the first one as a fan, second one as a fan. I started taking pictures, sending them to Joe. Joe loved them. I had a couple friends that did the convention center one as a radio show. So I took photos for them, took photos for Joe, and then I just been taking photos ever since at the Hall of Fame ceremony and the Fan Fest every year.
We got one last one, Chris
Our
Blackheart.
last Pitcher Dave.
Picture Dave. Okay, you guys want me honest? I'll be honest. Every promoter uses this guy, and I have no effing clue why. The photos are so blurry. They're bad. You know, out of every shot that he gets, if you find his website, he posts every single picture he takes. So if he takes 75 pictures of Don Vega's match, there's probably one or two good ones. Because it has to be like a rest hold or a pause. Because I think he uses the sports. There's like different settings on the camera, and he uses the sports one, thinking that it's going to take good photos. You have to change the settings and change the focus and all that, the lighting and all that. You got to change that. You got to know how because it changed. Like the photos are so blurry. They're so bad. I don't know why people use him. Like I would take photos still too now if I'm not refereeing, but it's just they're bad. I'm admitting like right now like they're bad. They're fucking horrible.
He's gonna get back.
They're horrible. He'll probably call me because yeah, like no, I really do. I think they're bad. Like I had a career day at school the other day because I teach, and I took in I had my camera around my neck and I had my portfolio in my backpack. They're like, oh, you're supposed to be a photographer? I'm like, yeah. You want to see my portfolio? They're like, what? A portfolio? I'm like, yeah. Shoop, here it is. Put it on the table. They're like, wow, these are really good shots. I never knew you did this. Like, yep, I'm a photographer.
All right, so Picture Dave, take it up on him. I still love you. He took my shot for PWI magazine back in the day. So
That was a standing still photograph. That was a
it's
pose
all
photo.
love. It's all
I
love.
like him. I like him as a person. It's just I think the quality of the photography is
So,
a little bit bad.
Hit up
Anthony Warren.
Anthony and go have your videographer photographer battle.
Steel cage match.
At a later date.
Steel cage
no
match
holds bar. First photo taken.
Steel cage match with all the weapons inside the ring. Cameras involved.
Yep. But It's been good. It's been real. It's been fun catching up and getting to talk about some old stuff. Uh, Chris Blackheart, you got anything else?
No, I think you were light. You told some good stories. If
Thank
you
you.
have stories of the Pro Wrestling Marathon, you can post them on any of our social media.
SB
Tell the
Wrestling.
story. If you want to videotape and tell your story, don't do a still because he may get mad at the quality of it.
Might be blurry.
Might be blurred.
But
The
tag
lines
us
are
in it,
blurred.
tell the story, and we'll share it.
Speaking of stories, next week you want to join us back here live because our guests, going back to old school stuff, we go back to the NEWA, the New England Wrestling Alliance. Studley Steve Stallion will be
Get the
joining
hell
us
outta here.
on the Showcase Pod, so you don't want to miss from the days of the NEWA to Primal Conflict Wrestling, all here in the Showcase Pod. But for now, the boss Chris Blackheart, Don Vega, and Anthony Warren will catch you down the road in the Showcase Pod.